Brothers come back up here. So I'm going to ask them some questions that I hope you guys will enjoy. And then if you have any of your own questions, because it's a little dark and confused here, you can meet the gentlemen over here where they will be selling artwork and posters for this wonderful event. But you'll have to trust me for the brilliant, insightful questions. And I think the first question that I would like to ask these gentlemen is, are you surprised that so many 10, 12, 14-year-old kids today really like this film?
Oh, well, yes. We are really surprised that we have such a young audience. But it's a testament to the people who did see it in the 80s. They loved it in the 80s, then they grew up, got married, had children, and then shared the movie with their kids. And then those kids grew up, got married, and shared it with their children. So we got like 3 generations of people who kind of like the film. And I think it's showing a trend, especially with like the younger audience, because they grew up on movies that have all CG monsters and creatures in it, and now they're discovering movies that have practical effects and stop motion. So this technique is the new thing, so it's kind of cool and stands out, yeah.
Isn't it funny that after 25 years, the effects still hold up for the audience? All the fans say, don't do CG if you do a sequel. So we promise we'll do some digital compositing, but we'll do the old practical effects.
Yeah, and this is Clownzilla. Charlie was in that Clownzilla suit.
I would like to ask you guys, because you spent your entire careers on practical makeup and creating creatures with your hands and latex and rubber and paint. What is your personal opinion on the use of CG in monster movies and sci-fi? Do you just hate it straight out, or do you think there's a good place for it? What's your opinion on CG in general?
Wow, it's really funny. I love the images that you're getting now. It blows me away what they can do now. Everything is possible. Before we had to figure out what we could do and we couldn't do, what we could afford. Well, you can do anything now. The audience now, somehow, there's a detachment. I don't know if the audience, they see it as CG, it's not real. I like to think that the stuff we were doing was real, and the audience recognized it. They could feel that it was real in real light. People could touch it, and people could be killed by it.
I think that's it exactly. I think the audience can sense that it's a physical, tangible reality. You know, no matter how real a CG looks, it's always fake. And no matter how fake the rubber monsters look, they're real. And I think the audience can catch on.
Yeah, I mean, again, I love technology. I mean, Pacific Rim, I don't know how you'd do that movie with practical effects. I mean, it would have been an $800 million movie. Yeah, but even still, then they just need to kind of take a step back and use their CG in a more practical manner. You know, design the shots. You know, the camera goes everywhere and anywhere now, and it's a little disconcerting. You know, just their physics that just don't make sense, and it kind of takes me out of the movie. So, you know, it's cool imagery, but I love the practical stuff.
Yeah, the thing is, what I'm seeing as a filmmaker, as an artist, a designer, I'm seeing that all the monsters move the same way. King Kong jumps like the Hulk. The Hulk moves like the alien. Werewolves can jump and climb walls. Aliens can climb walls. The CG, they're animated the same way. Vampires that can turn into vampires and werewolves, and there's metallic tentacles. How many robots do you have to see with tentacles and things? I'm starting to see the same things. I think they're running out of ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, the physics. Yeah, sometimes why would, like you said, King Kong move like the? You know, it's a good point. And one of my theories is, and then I'll feed it back to you, but I think you might agree, is when you saw the CG Yoda, you thought, hey, that looks neat. And every time you see him, you're constantly reminded that it's the CG Yoda. But when you saw the original Yoda, your brain went, oh, it's a puppet. And then within 10 minutes, he was a character. You're not constantly reminded a puppet is a puppet. You accept it, it's gone. CG, you're almost constantly reminded, neat. And like you said, the camera doesn't go that way. It's impossible to get a camera up there, so you've kind of pulled me out of the spectacle a bit.
I didn't believe for 1 second that Yoda could jump like that.
He jumped like the Hulk.
It was ludicrous. It was just insane. It just ruined that character for me.
Well, I'm thinking you're hobbling around on a crutch, and then you do that like a circus clown in in Ringling Brothers. Yeah, the martial like Bruce Lee, and then he goes back to hobbling around. Come on.
What would you say would if somebody is madly in love with practical effects and loves your work and Savini and all these guys and says, I want to make movies like Killer Klowns. If we have to use CG here and there, fine. But I want to do something that is an homage to practical puppetry and effects. What lessons or tips would you tell them to get it done today, not in the 80s? What are practical advice?
Yeah, you know what? It's the creativity. If you have a concept, there's any number of ways to do it. It's becoming a little easier now, I think, because the audience wants to see the practical stuff, and we're sort of going back to that. I think there's room for both. You can't. CG has to be done very expensive for it to be great. They spend a lot of money on Pacific Rim. When you don't spend the money, it's as bad as the worst, practical effects movies. So I think there's room for both.
Oh, yeah, there really is room for both. In fact, we go along with the hybrid technique where you build the things in reality. You build a physical puppet, and then you augment it through digital compositing. A lot of times we'll make some animatronic heads, and we don't put eye blinks in it because it might cost too much, it might take too much time. So then we'll make a blink via some post-compositing techniques.
How many times does it blink?
Exactly. So the idea is, we're not down on computer technology. It's that it's not the answer to everything. And really a mixed bag of tricks is really the best way to get a creature to come alive.
And even now, what's great with what we didn't have when we were breaking into the business, there is a great resources for learning opportunities. The Stan Winston School online. They have an amazing amount of resources and online classes that you taught how to sculpt, how to mold, how to do basic animatronics, really sophisticated things. So, I mean, that's propelling, kids, there's an interest out there, and now there's places to go and learn.
You know what? It's always been about the story and the character. And who cares about how you do it? You get your ideas out there, and that's what I give to all you guys that have film ideas. We had a stupid idea, Killer Klowns from Outer Space. We did it, and 25 years later, we're still here.
Well said. And another point is, again, I am not down on CG. I don't think any real movie fan would be down on any tool that helps to make a good film. But when a mom shows a horror movie like The Thing or American Werewolf to their children, what they remember is, holy moly, look at the camera, look at the effects in camera, look at how that stretches. That is unbelievable. And do you guys think that maybe in a way that some of that is being lost? When I saw American Werewolf in London, I was like, literally, how the F did they do that? I don't know. But nowadays, a kid could watch Pacific Rim and go, oh, it's a computer program. It's a good movie, but I know how they did it.
Well, yeah, we have to do it by hand, and it was problem solving. Now, the computer solves the problem. There's a lot of work. I don't take the design and the execution is beyond anything I can imagine. I don't know how they can get better. It's getting really real if they put enough money into it, but it's all about character, story, and putting your dreams on the screen.
Yeah, I think it's more fun to see a rubber monster walking down the city streets eating a cop in its mouth. I mean, the point is that CG is trying so desperately to make things look real that it's getting kind of boring and generic. I think you just want to make it look really cool. And when you see this fantasy creature, not a man in a suit or a rubber monster or stop motion, you know it's fake, but it looks really cool. And that's what it's all about. You get a big kick out of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no investment in a computer image. It's not real. Where in American Werewolves in London, when that guy is going through that transformation, it freaking hurt. And you felt that. I mean, it was painful. You saw the bones stretching through the skin, the nails, the hair. It was painful. There was an investment, a connection to that moment in cinema.
And look at the Underworld or the Wolfman remake. CG?
Yeah. I mean,
Well, that's my question. Is when serious horror fans look at these movies and they say American Werewolf and The Thing and even The Exorcist had some brilliant practical effects. Are there maybe Gollum, but are there CG moments that 30 years from now people will look back like I look back at The Thing?
Already you could look at the Lord of the Rings. You got Gollum from the first one, the second one, and the third one, and now in The Hobbit. He's gotten better each time. So like the very first Gollum, you kind of forget about. You forget about him. He's kind of trashed. But the first Yoda is still up there. It's still a really powerful little character.
I get annoyed when people say that there's bad acting in Killer Klowns from Outer Space. I look at the performance of Harrison Ford in the original Star Wars. You know, those line readings weren't any better than some of the stuff that Dave and Mike were doing.
Let me ask you guys this. A lot of your fans of this film might not know that you guys worked on a lot of other films and interesting TV shows that they know. Aside from Killer Klowns, how would you compare, say, a Critters or the work you guys did on Team America? Difficulty or amount of work, how does that compare to this one?
Killer Klowns was really tough because there was the entire responsibility from the idea to final execution was us. So we were involved in every frame of that movie. Team America was tough because it was a puppet job, and it's extraordinary to get 50 puppeteers and 200 puppets changed and strung and everything. And Critters was just, we were creating the characters, and that just, you know, there's the difficulty of being underneath in uncomfortable positions, puppeteering with rattlesnakes biting your ass.
What was the question?
How do you compare?
Oh, how do you compare?
Comparatively. And the Team America.
Yeah, I tell you, well, Killer Klowns is what Charlie said. We were responsible for every aspect of production, so we kept busy. And it was fun because it was our creation. Team America was really the hardest job I've ever worked on. I think we realized why you don't see a lot of marionette movies being made. They're impossible. The damn things don't do anything. So it was really, really tough to do. But rewarding because of the Matt and Trey are just really cool guys, and we had a lot of fun doing it, but it was a lot of work.
Yeah, and actually on Clowns, actually the difficult part, I mean, the art and the creative stuff and working with the artists on the movie was actually the most rewarding and the fun part of it. It was the business, the logistics of dealing with the financing company, people putting up the money. That's where that was extremely difficult. They just didn't get what we were doing, and we were at odds with them when we wanted to, you know, shoot 12 hours instead of 10 hours one night. You know. We had nearly had a fist fight with our first AD. The guy that is there is supposed to make the movie with us. You know, let's set the table for Steven so he could direct. And I almost get into a fist fight with him. You know, because one night. So
You wanted to go home.
But you know, it was you know, Team America, like Steven said, it's probably the hardest we ever worked because there was a $32 million movie really on our backs. Because if we failed, the movie just was not going to happen. Actually, it wasn't happening until they brought us on, and we kind of, you know, saved the day.
You know, the stories. You got a CG movie. Well, I went into work today and I sat by my monitor and I animated 30 frames, 300 frames, 3,000 frames. I'm going to come in tomorrow, I'm going to animate another 3,000 frames.
Not even, they animated the foot.
I animated the foot, and then I did the lighting on it, and then I made the eyes blink. Our stories, we're underneath there manipulating puppets, the rattlesnakes are coming, they don't tell us that everyone takes a break for lunch and we're waiting for them to do the next take. Then they tell us, we want to set the critter puppets on fire. Can we do that? Well, why don't we wait until we film the rest of the movie before you destroy the $10,000 hero puppets. We got great stories of all kinds of stuff. The hero ball going off the cliff down into the valley, you know, the giant critter ball. You don't have those stories with CG. And I think, you know, being on stage with green, what kind of stories are you going to tell? Well, we went on a green stage and we hung some guys and we jumped, you know? So.
Right. And again, you know, not to take anything away, like you'd said, there's real artistry involved in creating and designing these creatures. That don't think that practical effects designers and creators are opposed to digital creation. But I think that to a lot of hardcore movie fans, practical effects have a special place in our heart for a lot of the reasons you guys have said. Because it's in the camera. The actors are in this frame with it. You can see them touching it, and that sells. Doesn't matter if it's about Jason or Killer Klowns or Critters, that sells it. And I want to, what I always want to ask filmmakers like you guys, because you've worked on tons of movies, but you've only really written and directed this one. And does it make you feel good at night knowing that tonight and 25 years from now, there will still be 12 and 15-year-old kids who find this movie on Cinemax and go, this is fucking awesome.
It's a thrill to have done something that you're remembered for, and that decades from now, Killer Klowns will still be around, like the original King Kong, like Citizen Kane. Well, maybe not like Citizen Kane. No,
Yeah, like Citizen Kane.
Yeah. But it's real interesting. I'm sure Steven Spielberg looks back at Jaws and goes, you know, I wish I could have made that shark better. Because they can make a better shark now. But look at that movie.
Yeah, I think it's really a big kick for us. I mean, again, we just made a film that we wanted to make a film that we liked, and we did that, and it's really a big kick to see that so many people like it. And that's, as artists, that's what it's all about. So we're really happy.
What about a sequel?
You know, actually, there's been a lot of talk about sequel, and you know, we're still out there trying. We came really close about a year ago, had financing, had distribution. We were talking to MGM, but it's really complicated. You know, the only thing tougher than making your first movie is making your second movie. But we know we're really close to doing something with it again. We've kind of shifted from motion picture a little to possibly a better vehicle in television, something that gives us a chance to you know, do a longer story arc. You know, so something along the lines of The Walking Dead.
If it happens, you guys are involved, right?
Well, again, nobody else is pushing the cart, so.
You just have to be patient, guys. We've been working on it every day for the last 25 years to get something going. The business really sucks, and you get really close, and then an element falls away, and you go start back to zero. So, believe me, a lot of your fans are getting a little perturbed now. We're still trying. It's really tough out there with this economy, but we're trying, and I think it's going to happen.
Before we die, before we retire, we make a commitment that we will do something with Killer Klowns.
Here, you heard it here. You heard it here. We're pretty healthy.
I want to thank these guys, the three brothers who got to, you know, follow their dream of making monsters and puppets and clowns and just playing around, and they turned it into art that people really love. Now, this movie looks slight and silly, but that's not nothing. That's a big deal. These guys are trailblazers in a part of filmmaking that is kind of not really given that much love anymore. It'll always be there, but we always have to remember that practical effects and latex and rubber and real makeup is what makes a monster, okay? And if you guys hear anything about a Killer Klowns film and the Chiodo Brothers are not involved, I want you to take to Facebook and Twitter and burn MGM to the ground virtually, not literally. But thank you guys so much. It is a real honor to have you guys here. Thank you. And I have to send in a plug. Next month, we're having a 6-film overnight event on Friday the 13th. We're showing 3 new films, 3 classic horror films, and we would love for you guys to come out to that. You guys are also welcome to come, of course. But this is their first trip to Philly, so please, one more round of applause for these puppeteering, gore-slinging, latex-loving brothers. Thank you, guys.